Oh my God, you guys, I finally have my very own snowboard. Oh, so excited, you guys don't even know. We have a bit to talk about today. This is gonna be kind of a chatty vlog. Let me get into actual position so you guys can see me properly. All right, here we go. This weekend was a lot of fun, let me tell you. Hunter came home early on Friday because he got his second vaccination, and so he was like, I'm not feeling too well, because apparently the second dose of the vaccination, which is the last dose, actually makes you feel some of the symptoms of corona. So he comes home, we skip going to yoga. We usually do a double on Friday. Well, we have for the last one Friday, but now it's become a tradition. So we would do the Baptiste, which is a little bit harder. It's more flowy, more like muscles and working. It's more like actual cardio, especially in the hot room. And then after that, directly after, like 15 minutes after, we would do a yin class, which is more of like the stretching and holding, and you can basically just like fall asleep, but it's still in the hot room, so you're gonna sweat a lot. But instead, he came home early, we ordered some food, and we played the Binding of Isaac, which I love playing video games with him. It is so much fun. So Binding of Isaac, if you guys don't know, which I think a lot of you guys do because you guys are gamers, probably that's how at least a minority of people found me here, but it's a roguelike game by Edmund McMillan, who also created Super Meat Boy, which is not a roguelike game, but this roguelike game is like the best thing ever because it makes fun of a lot of things in religion. It's basically about Isaac trying to escape through his vast, ever-changing basement away from his mom, who's a like religious crazy zealot trying to kill him. And you can find items that are like Isaac's pet parts, like Isaac's cat Guppy's head and stuff, and that makes him sadder, and therefore he shoots more tears, and the way he kills enemies in the basement is by shooting tears. You guys probably don't care. But anyway, because it's a roguelike, that means that you go through a randomly generated dungeon, and then when you die, and you have to start in the beginning, and you don't have all the power-ups and all the items that you had before, and you have to find new power-ups and new items. And I love so much how Hunter gets really attached to every single run, and he's like, no, why? Like every time we die, it's the cutest thing ever. Oh my God. We lay on the love sack and we play on the big screen, and it is so much fun. I love that I'm able to share some of my more obscure hobbies like indie games with him, and he'll actually get into it. I cannot wait to show him Attack on Titan. But anyway, let's talk about another hobby we have in common. Hunter and I next Friday are going on our fifth, I'm not sure, snowboarding trip. I think it might be our fifth snowboarding trip because, well, one trip we went to 2 different resorts, so I guess it might be our 4th. I'm not quite sure. We're going to Big Bear this weekend, and since we've been doing so much snowboarding and since we're both really addicted to it and like it, and we're starting to get like halfway decent at it, by the way, follow me on Instagram if you want to see the shenanigans when I'm up on the mountain. I'll also try to film this one. I filmed a little bit of the Breckenridge/Vail trip, but it was more like I was filming B-roll. I wasn't filming any talking portions, but I will do that video soon so you guys can get a little bit of a glimpse into us going there. It's so beautiful every time we go. And we went to Brian Head twice, which I didn't film anything during those times, I don't think. Maybe during one of the times, I'm not sure. But for me, I've always wanted to go to Aspen. Always. My entire life, I've wanted to go to Aspen because I love the aesthetic of log cabins and that resort bougie lifestyle where you have like a little village of like bars and places to go shop, and it's just snowy and it's comfy, and even in the summer it's kind of cool. You can go mountain biking, or you can just hang out in this like very forested wilderness and hike and off-road, and I just love log cabins. You guys know this. So when Hunter was like, let's go on a snowboarding trip to my uncle's cabin, I was like, fuck yes. In fact, fuck it. Let's just make this not a vlog about the weekend and more of like a quickie vlog about my trips snowboarding, so you guys know how much I love snowboarding because, oh my God, I've fallen head over heels in love with it. So Hunter had gone before once with some girl who was actually better than him at snowboarding, and they ended up breaking up or something, and then he never really went again. So we decided to go. We stayed in a cabin which was so cute. It was his uncle's cabin in Breckenridge, and it was literally just one very, very scary drive down the hill and then across the street to the parking lot where you get on these gondolas, which are really fucking cool. It's like a giant closed off contraption that takes you up to the ski lift. So it's not like a ski lift, it's like a big orb that's completely enclosed, and you put your snowboard on the outside, and then it takes you up way higher than the ski lifts do. The first day, we went on the Bunny Hill, and the bunny hill is like 200 feet long and barely elevated, but when you're up there as a beginner, it looks fucking scary. So we take this little thing that's like an escalator in the ground, and you have to stand on it and hold your board or put your board on, and you go up and then you go down and then you do it again and then you go down, and like immediately, like 2 tries, Hunter's like good enough to want to go on the actual green trails. So the difficulty is thus: green is easiest trails, better than the bunny trails, or harder than the bunny trails. The bunny trails literally just for like first day people or people who are like really fucking bad at everything, you know? And then the easy trails are much longer. I don't even know how long trails are. I think they range from like half a mile to like 3 miles each time, but you don't really feel like it's that long because you're going fast. I'm not quite sure. I could be completely off on this, but it's definitely more than 200 feet, which is the bunny trail. So Hunter wanted to go on the easy trails, and I was falling every 5 seconds. Like I would get up and fall, get up and fall, get up and fall. And he taught me the way to get up that's a lot more strenuous, where you like kind of just grab the middle of your board and then you like have to like hop up, and you have to do it in an angle where you're not already sliding, because then you'll just slide and fall again immediately. And it was so fucking tiring that my body literally could not get back up again. So every single time I was getting up, and this was in Vail, by the way, we stayed in Breckenridge, but the first day we went to Vail. Both of these, Breckenridge and Vail, are like really big resorts, really gigantic mountains, where like I actually talked to a girl there and she was like, well, if you're learning here and you can do these trails, you can do any trails, because it's basically like the American Whistler or something, or like akin to Aspen, like the big bougie places. So it was interesting to learn there, but the entire day I was stuck on the bunny trail and I was fucking frustrated because I no longer had the strength to get up anymore. I was so fucking tired, I literally couldn't do it. And so I was like, fuck it, Hunter, I'm gonna go get a drink. You go ahead and go on the easy trails. You're good enough, whatever. But in my head, I was really frustrated because I was like, he was annoyed that I wasn't continually getting up and getting better, and it just seemed like he was stuck there with me and he didn't like it. And it was like, with all this talk of us being a team, with all of this shit, it was like his impatience really made it much harder and more difficult and more stressful on me. And while he was gone on the easy trails, before I had decided to give up and actually go get that drink I mentioned I was gonna get, I looked over and I saw like a girlfriend who was really bad with a boyfriend who had no board on, and they were on the bunny trail, and he would pick her up every time she fell so she didn't have to exert all of that effort. You know, it's kind of like when you're trying to learn Call of Duty, right? And I think I've mentioned this before and given this analogy before, but this is the snowboarding video thus far up until Big Bear. So it feels like you're trying to get good at COD, and every time you fucking spawn in, you get immediately headshot, to the point where like you have no time to even practice trying to get better at seeing enemies and attacking them and trying to line up your sights and trying to shoot faster. Like none of that you can practice because you're instantly just being shot in the head and respawned and having to wait 10 seconds, which is the same as me falling down immediately, not getting to practice any technique, not getting to really practice anything, and then exerting all of my fucking effort and patience on getting up again and again and again. So that's how I felt. So I was getting a drink. Hunter comes back and joins me for the drink after he goes down an easy trail, which wasn't so easy for him. Did I mention? I think I actually didn't tell you guys. So green is easiest, blue is harder, or like normal difficulty, like average difficulty, and then there's diamond and double diamond, and they're black diamonds. So single black diamond and double black diamond, and those are like the expert trails. Oftentimes they don't even have real trails. It's just like double diamond terrain, like enter at your own risk, and it's like completely crazy shit, non-packed. And then they also have like parks with like things you can grind on, jumps you can do and stuff, and those are kind of like, they're easy trails, but the jumps and the grinding and stuff are obviously really fucking hard. It's more like a park. So again, Hunter comes back and joins me for a drink. He didn't do that well on the easy trail because he was also still a beginner, just he had exceeded what I was doing, which was not even being able to stand up and being way too afraid to go on a green easy trail, because I was like, there's no fucking way, dude. Like I'm falling like every 5 seconds and I can't get back up. So I'll actually end up like rolling down the hill because I'm too tired to get back up. So I explained to him, in probably not the best way, like I didn't yell at him or anything, but I'm like, I'm really fucking frustrated. Like I see these people, these boyfriends and girlfriends and friends, they're helping each other learn, and I feel like I've been here alone and I have no time to actually practice while I'm on my board because I'm falling every time and I'm so exhausted, I literally can't get back up. And I'm like, would it be like impossible for you to like come stay with me for the rest of this day and like help me get back up every time I fall so that I can keep practicing, so that I improve, so that I fall less and therefore I'm less exhausted? And he's like, yeah, But I think he was also a little frustrated that I didn't tell him that I needed that in the first place. I don't know. It was a little bit contentious, and I was like on the verge of tears because I was so frustrated. I was frustrated at myself more that I hadn't realized that I needed that and asked for that, rather than just being like, yeah, just go off without me. It's fine, you know? Because that probably came off to him as like, oh, you are being lazy and not really trying, and you just want to like go get a drink and not even do this anymore. But after he actually started helping me, it was great. Like, it worked out. I actually learned a lot more, and he challenged me. He was like, go down the whole hill just braking, just like right foot braking, because I'm right foot forward. I stand goofy stance and then I switch a lot, but anyway, I ride right foot forward. So he's like, just right brake, which is me going forward, sliding down straight and braking, you know? He's like, just see if you can do that all the way down. I'm like, oh, I can do that, and I easily do it all the way down. I do a little bit more, I'm falling a little bit less. Every time I try to left turn, which is me putting my back toward the decline, so like sliding backwards, I would fall and like kind of hurt myself a little bit. But other than that, I was good to go down the bunny hill. So he was like, yo, challenge yourself and go down an easy hill. And I did it, and it was actually okay, and it felt really great. And I had Hunter there helping me, and I finally felt like I could follow him a little bit on the easier trails. He ended up doing like a lot of ambitious shit. Something I love about men, but also dislike about men, but like about Hunter because he has a limit to it, is the male propensity for risk taking. It is so nice, and while also scary, it's just very motivating to see someone be like, I have this skill level, let's try up it with this intensity activity. So he decides to take the fucking ski lift all the way to the top, and at Vale, the top of the mountain doesn't only have double diamond, so you can actually ride greens and blues at the very top of the mountain. He said it was like gorgeous, but I didn't go with him. He was doing a lot more trails than I was. I would do like 2 trails, and then I would take a break, and then he would do a trail without me and stuff. Our first day there was like a Friday or a Saturday or something, and we weren't able to get any lift tickets for either of the 2 places, so we spent that day just like hanging out, getting something to eat at the village. Oh, aesthetic mountain villages. Oh, just like I imagine in Aspen, but Aspen's probably like 10 times better. There was one in Breck and there was one in Vale, and we went shopping for food, and we went out to eat. We went to a bar. It was just like so much fun. The little cabin of his uncle's was so cute. And then when we got to the Breckenridge day, I really liked Breck because they have like these patios where you can watch everyone skiing and snowboarding, and like fire pits, and you're outside and you're eating and drinking. I had some of the most amazing fucking drinks there. I had like a hot toddy, and then I had like a hot chocolate, like alcoholic drink that was really fucking good. It was like hot chocolate, but a little bit of alcohol, and it barely got me buzzed at all. But I really liked how you could go inside and then order something and then sit outside and watch people ski and snowboard. The Breck day, I was a little bit better, but I was still taking a lot of breaks, and there was a point where I fell really scary. Like, I fell while trying to do the left stop or the left turn, and I actually like banged my head really hard, and I had one of those like aura headaches. I don't know if that's what it's called, but like the headaches you get when you bang your head really hard, and it was really scary. My eyes were watering. I just did not feel good. I was nauseated because of the like intense headache I had. And then it also put me off from trying because I was trying so hard to do the left turn, and I'm still not good at it 3 trips later, but it always turns me off from trying for a little bit. So I was like distressed and unhappy, and I was like, fuck this shit. It's so funny because you're like immensely addicted to it, and then something happens, you're like, goddamn, fuck this shit, and you like go inside and you don't want to do it anymore, and it's like, oh my god, I fucking hate this shit. Why did I even try this? This is horrible, you know? So I FaceTime Jay, and I take some fucking questions on Instagram. By the way, you should follow me on Instagram, links in the description. And then I end up going up with him again. And it was a really fucking fun trip. I think it was 4 days, just us 2 in a cabin. Beautiful fucking scenery. It's funny, I remember the one time I drove the Jeep, because when I'm with Hunter, Hunter always drives his Jeep. I think it's so sexy that he loves the Jeep and drives the Jeep. So I always let him drive. And I don't know, it's just a submissive, hot thing that I do, and he really loves the Jeep, so why not? So the one time I drove, because he was tipsy and I wasn't, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna drive. We're not gonna get a fucking DUI here. I'm going up the hill, that scary hill, and it's been snowing that night. We were getting a lot of snow that night. And I guess I was staying so close to the edge that wasn't a drop off because I was being paranoid about maybe just sliding off, because I don't know, like the Jeep has giant tires, but the Jeep does not have snow tires or chains. It's just like 4-wheel drive and giant Jeep tires with treads that are more meant for mudding and therefore not actually that great for keeping snow in the treads and then throwing it out one rotation station later, which is what you want for traction in snow. I digress. I go into this ditch and I legit get stuck, and I'm doing dumb shit because I'm nervous about being stuck in the snow. So I'm like digging it deeper and I'm like, I don't know, should I get my treads or whatever? And then this guy comes up with a truck and the guy's like, look, you can winch onto my fucking truck if you need to, but first try backing out. So I try backing out and it's working great, and he's worried that I'm turning too much toward the place where I could fall off the mountain. And so he's like, do you want me to do it? Do you want to stop it? And I'm like, no, I got it. And I like back out and I'm good, but it was like really fucking embarrassing, and Hunter will not let me live it down that the only time I drove the Jeep in the snow, I completely failed and got stuck in a ditch. Oh my God, it was hilarious. On the drive home, it was so snowy at first for the first like 150 miles that Hunter was going super slow. And like I was telling you before, guys are usually not as risk averse as women. And so I was looking at him like, wow, I'm really impressed that when you know there's something that could be dangerous, you're actually taking it slow. Like, that's amazing. I'm like, you've driven in the snow before, right? And he's like, yeah, there was one time I was up somewhere with my cousin and I was driving in the snow a little bit. And then like 2 months later, he tells me while we're drunk out, I'm like, tell me a secret. And he's like, yo, remember that time I told you I'd driven in the snow before? I had never driven in the snow before and I was freaking out because it was like highway, 2 lanes, completely covered in fresh snow, only like semis whizzing past and like drop offs on either side. And I guess he had never driven in the snow either. And so he was freaking out a little bit, but like didn't want to show it to freak me out. And I'm like, yo, you don't have to lie to me about stuff like that. You should trust that I'll take that knowledge and not freak out and not be like a burden on you or whatever. But I think it's really cool that he will often like fess up to stuff like that after. And I think he's slowly learning that he doesn't need to lie to me about anything. But that was a side note. So our next trip was to Bryan Head, our first time at Bryan Head. Okay, so Bryan Head's a little weird because it's in Utah. Utah's really fucking weird because every single time it hits Sunday, you can't buy liquor. It's really fucking weird. And there are no places that actually serve liquor. They serve draft beer and wine. There's like no actual bars with mixed drinks in Bryan Head at all. It's really fucking weird. And Bryan Head's such a small town. There's only like 1 or 2 places you can even go to eat. It's really weird, but I love the cozy nature of the ski resort. There's 2 ski resorts. There's like the Giants Lodge and then Navajo. And Navajo is the one where we usually spent most of our time. So what we would do is we had a flask, but Hunter lost the flask. Or was that the second trip he lost the flask? Well, the flask would become empty very quickly. And these were only weekend trips to Bryan Head, so they were much quicker than the 4-day that we did in Breckenridge/Vail. So by then, I was going down easy trails every time, doing pretty well. I wouldn't usually fall off the ski lift. I was getting a lot better, but yeah, I would fall like occasionally. I think my first or second run, because the powder was so fresh and I had not experienced that in Vail or Breckenridge, I was like, oh my God, getting stuck like every 5 seconds with my snowboard. It was hilarious. So when I would get stuck, it's so funny. Like, you should just see me struggling. You go up to your waist if you try to walk in the snow because it's such thick, fresh powder. So you gotta kind of like pull with your board and walk with your board and then strap yourself back in and just keep trying to go and not catching an edge and getting stuck in there. Oh, the funniest shit ever. Happened quite often, especially in the middle of the runs. There's a lot of places where it kind of levels out a little bit. So at the end, I would often have to like walk out, or in the middle, I would have to like walk out because I would never keep up my speed because I'm a little bit scared. I'll like cut a little bit and slow down quite a bit and then start again. And then I'm still not that comfortable. Sometimes I look like I know what I'm doing and I switch effortlessly, which is kind of cool looking, but that's only because I can't do an actual left turn. So in order for me to do a left turn, let's say I'm like this, I can stop this way, but I cannot spin the board that way to turn that way or to stop that way. So what I do is I'll flip to being left foot forward and then I'll go that way to go left and then I'll switch back and then I'll go that way to go right. And it's really stupid why I switch, but I think if I ever want to start doing park jumps or if I ever want to be like an actual really good snowboarder, it is good to be able to use either foot forward to do goofy or regular stance, but the reason I'm doing it is not smart. It's like forming a bad habit, but I do try to incorporate left turns and I'm only trying to switch when it's like an emergency and I really need to turn that way or I'm gonna go off and get stuck into some powder or hit some fucking trees or something. So I'm working on it, I am. But the first trip at Bryan Head, oh, so much fun because we would do a run and then the line was so long the first weekend we went, it was like an unheard of busy weekend at Bryan Head because it was like Valentine's Day weekend, or was that the second trip? Yeah, the second trip was Valentine's Day. The first trip was like President's Day or some weird like 3-day weekend where a lot of people want to go partying, so a lot of people were there snowboarding and stuff, and it was just very, very busy. You guys can post in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. It's some holiday a couple weeks before, or maybe even a month before Valentine's Day. No, it's not Labor Day because that's like in the summer. I don't know. But there were a lot of people there. So we would go in and we would get like a White Claw, drink that, be a little buzzed in line, and then by the time we got to the top, we were the perfect amount of sober and buzzed to where I had liquid courage and I was able to do so much better because I didn't lose any motor skill or anything like that. I wasn't actually inebriated. I was just feeling good, you know? And we would have like cute little talks while going up on the ski lift, and it's nice during COVID because they don't put anyone else on the ski lift with you. It's like who you ride with is who you ride up with type of thing. So if it's just us two, even though it's a 4-person lift, it's just gonna be us two. So we would go up, we would take shots from our thing, we would talk, we would like be just really happy. I don't know, there was a time where I was like pretty drunk inside the ski lodge and we were eating like pizza or burgers or something in between runs. And I just start like, cause the boots are kind of clunky. So I just started like jumping up the stairs, and I'm like, jumping up the stairs is so much easier than taking a hike around the building outside to get back. And he's just like, oh my God, I love you so much. Just like looks at me and thinks I'm so like fun or something. I don't know. Just like great memories of that place. And I feel like my first Bryan Head trip was one where I really started to get better. Second Bryan Head trip was fun up until the last day. At this point, Hunter and I are not doing any runs apart. Like I'll literally go with him on some blues and we'll try some blues. Then we'll go back and do some greens. And his ability is a little bit higher than mine, or maybe a lot higher than mine. I'll show you, he actually looks pretty cool, at least to a layman like me. Like this is a clip of him going in the plaid jacket. He looks hot, he looks cool, I love it. I love watching him snowboard and he loves it so much. But yeah, so we're going on every trip. I'm not taking any breaks. I don't get immensely sore. I remember in Vail and Breckenridge, we couldn't sleep the last night. So we decided to leave at like 2 a.m. and start going back to Vegas because we literally couldn't sleep because we were so sore and in so much pain. It was hilarious. Like he was awake tossing and turning, I was awake tossing and turning, and like I was trying to like massage his back and make him feel better while I'm like also in pain. I'm like holding up my arm like, here you go, I hope you feel better, baby. Oh my God, this is horrible. And we're like, yo, let's just get up and go home. It's a 10-hour drive anyway, but definitely a 10-hour drive that's worth it. So back to the last trip of Bryan Head, which was our last trip during Valentine's Day. We do some fun stuff for Valentine's Day. There's this little pizza spot that's in the city. I think, is it Georgetown? No, Georgetown is way earlier. There's like a little city before you get to Bryan Head that has like a really cute pizza joint that we went to, and it's like kind of bougie, and they have like wine and beer, and it's just really cozy and nice. And we went there the first time because it was the only place to eat before we made it to Bryan Head. But we went there for Valentine's Day, which I think was the second day of our trip or something. But first couple days, same thing happened. We had a fucking great time, a blast doing every fucking run together, doing some blues. And then we decided on the last day to go to the other side, the Giant Steps Lodge. And we decided to go up to the very top and do like a really long blue run. But as we're going up higher and higher in the mountain on the ski lift, there was zero visibility, a ton of wind, and a ton of snow. And it was really fucking hard to see. It was horrible conditions. When we got up to the top, Hunter was assuring me that we could find the routes down that were blue, but each route that was blue was surrounded by diamonds, like black diamonds, like the hard shit that we both don't want to do, right? And when you get up there, usually there's like signs that tell you which way is which. They'll be like, this way is a blue, this way is a green, this way is a diamond, and they'll tell you the name of the route. But that sign, because of the wind and the snow, was covered in snow that had just like hit it because of the wind. So we couldn't see the names of anything, and I start panicking, and we're going down, and like I can't see anything, and I'm starting to hallucinate. I think I had a legit panic attack because I'm starting to hallucinate that the sides with the ropes are like swaying like this. So as I'm going down, I think I'm going straight, but I'm like seeing, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting close to the fucking rope on the side, which is like the perimeter of where you're supposed to be going, the perimeter of the thing. You're not supposed to go that way because it's like just trees and untended to fucking shit. So I'm like, oh my God, and I'll like sway back to the right, and then I'll just fall, and I'm falling every 5 seconds, and I'm falling, and I'm falling, and I fell once that like really hurt me, and Hunter's down there like waiting for me a little bit, and I get to him, and I'm like, are you sure this is the way? I don't know if this is the way, like, are we going the right way? And it's so funny because like he's an impatient guy and also doesn't really know how to deal with that kind of thing. He's getting a lot better at it actually because we talk openly, which is something I really love about our relationship. Like when something happens, I'm like, well, how does that make you feel? Or what do you want me to do next? And then we'll like talk it out and stuff. But in this situation, I was like, are you sure it's this way? way? And he's like, yes, like the sign said that, we're good, just go this way, you'll get down. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you seriously sure? How do you know? And he's like, you know what? If you don't trust me, just go back up and take the lift down, which is like not even a thing you can do, but I think he thinks you can. It literally says no lift re-entry up there, so you kind of just have to get down that way. And I'm like, whatever, you just go. And he was really hesitant to go, but I was like, you acting like this when I'm in this state is making it much worse on me. So I would rather just be alone. I know I'll survive. I'll know I'll make it down. And if you're not gonna like pat me on the head and tell me everything's gonna be okay, if you're just gonna be annoyed at me, like it's gonna make me more anxious for you to be here being like that with me. You know, like I'll be fine. I don't need you. But he kept waiting. He would wait like 100 feet ahead and then like watch and make sure that I'm okay or whatever. And I get to the bottom and we go and we get something to eat and we get a drink, and I'm just like frustrated that that happened. I really hate it anytime there's like a little blip in our relationship that I feel like is just me being dumb, because I don't like that. I want to be better than that, you know? So I asked him later, I'm like, how does it make you feel when I'm being difficult and you can't help me? And he's like, I don't know what to do to help. And I'm like, okay, that's not an emotion, but I get what you mean. And I'm like, well, what I want you to do in those situations is to either like give me logical reasons why it's okay, or to be patient with me and hug me and be like, let's go, it'll be fine, and just be there for me. And he's like, okay, I can do that. And then it's just like, we haven't had a problem since, though we haven't really had any adversity since, but that's usually how we get better in a relationship. That like really scared me. Oh my God. Like I was fucking freaked out after that. We went back to the Navajo place that wasn't as high up on the mountain because the visibility wasn't that great that weekend. And we just kept doing like the greens and the blues, and we had a good time, and then we came home. And now finally a month later, we're gonna be going on our next trip. Actually, it's over a month. It's been over a month since, but Hunter and I decided to finally actually buy some gear because we've been on enough trips, and there are places where you can still go snowboarding up until June, which is kind of annoying because I've been wanting to take the doors off the Jeep again, but there's no way. Actually, there was one dude with no top on while it was snowing in Bryan Head, and I'm like, oh my God, and I put it on Instagram because I was so shocked that this guy just wanted his Jeep full of snow. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I'm not gonna do that. It's way too cold for that shit. And I'm just looking forward to getting on the slopes again. I can't wait to hopefully eventually be good enough to actually get some good footage of me and Hunter snowboarding. I think it would also be really cool to live stream it. I've seen people like Destiny's girlfriend Melina live stream it. People live stream like random IRL stuff all the time, but I think it would really be fun to take you guys along with me because I fall a lot and it's fun, and I also don't fall sometimes and it's cool. So more adventures to be had, and I'm actually gonna try probably film like a real out and about vlog for Big Bear, but we will see. I'm unhappy about the Californian restrictions for a lot of the stuff. Like they said, prepare to be outside all day or make your car your base camp, which to me takes away a lot of the fun of going to the ski resorts, because I really, really love the whole like do a run, get a drink, be buzzed, do a run, get a drink, be buzzed, do a run, have some food. Yeah, that's good. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, especially with Hunter. So that is it. But since this was supposed to be a video about the weekend, I will quickly tell you about the weekend. So after the Binding of Isaac day, Hunter had to work Saturday morning, and then Saturday night we went to Area 15 for the first time, which is like this weird giant warehouse in Vegas. You should try come here if you ever do come here. And it's like full of psychedelic things to do. The newest attraction is called Meow Wolf, and it was something that Jay's girlfriend Brittany had been wanting to do for years since they delayed it for COVID, and now it's finally open. It's really hard to get spots, but she was able to get us 4 spots. So we're like, hell yeah, let's go do Meow Wolf together. We go. It's really cool. It's kind of like an escape room, but you don't have to do any of the problem solving or any of the investigation, but there's a lot of stuff to investigate. And there's also like secret doors and a lot of psychedelic stuff. Like you start out, it's really weird. Just look it up. Look up Area 15. But you start out in this like fake mini mart, and there's a lot of like weird stuff, like dudes with like chips for faces. It's so hard to explain. There's this one place where it's like stocked shelves, and then it like blurs together, and then it's stocked shelves again. So it's like really weird, psychedelic, interesting looking stuff. And you just go around and explore. There were like places where you can slide down a slide, places where you can like put your hand in lasers to make sounds and music. Just a lot of really fun stuff that would be really great if you're high. And me, Hunter, Jay, and Brittany went and did it together. It was a great night, and Hunter was so happy. Like it makes me so happy to see him so happy. He was like, I had so much fun. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And I wasn't sure that he would have fun doing stuff like that either, but he's been like so fucking sweet and cute since that it's like warms my heart. I love it so much. But after that Sunday, we went shopping for the snowboards, had some food, and then kind of just laid in bed and watched Breaking Bad all day because we're rewatching that together. And that was really nice. So it was just a really nice weekend, and I'm very happy right now. I hope you enjoyed the B-roll in the beginning of this video of my new board. I can't wait to show you actually using it and talking to you guys about how much I love it. I have pink boots that go with one one of my pink full body outfits and I have like this funny helmet cover that makes me look like a bunny, which Hunter hates. And oh, I am all ready to be way too flamboyant on the mountain, on the trails. I will see you guys in the next one, and I can't wait to update you on getting a little bit better at snowboarding. I love that Hunter and I are picking up hobbies together. So like, I didn't camp before him. Like, I hated camping, but I always wanted to retry real camping, not like buying a lot or whatever. And then Hunter's like, yeah, let's just do it this weekend, let's go. And then so we go, and he's like proactive about it. And we've gone hiking, we've gone camping 3 or 4 times. Now we've gone snowboarding in the winter. That's like our winter activity. I love the little date nights he takes me out on. Like, he took me out on one last weekend because we had been stuck in the house working all weekend. It's just, I am so happy with my life right now. Everything is so great. I don't know. More to come. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in the next one. Wish me luck in Big Bear. Woo!